Every blockbuster drug out there started as just a tiny spark, a simple idea in a lab. But how does that little spark survive the incredibly long and difficult journey to become a truly valuable asset? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on how a company called Point Path.Biz, we'll call them PPBIZ, does exactly that.
It really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? So you've got a breakthrough discovery, a new compound that looks incredibly promising. Now what? The path from that aha moment to an actual medicine is, to put it mildly, a minefield of scientific, financial, and regulatory challenges.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the core challenge. Then, we'll introduce PPBIZ as the partner who solves it. After that, we'll dive deep into their actual development process, see how they build value, and finally, wrap it all up with their all-in-one production model.
All right, first things first, we have to understand the terrain. In the world of drug development, this early stage has a pretty grim nickname, the Valley of Death. It's where so many brilliant ideas, unfortunately, go to die before they ever really get off the ground.
Every journey through that valley starts with what's called a research seed. Just think of it like this. It's the brilliant, raw idea. It's that brand new compound or cool technology that has a ton of potential, but it's still miles and miles away from being a medicine you can actually use.
And here's where it gets really tricky. Making it through isn't just about having great science, not at all. You need a whole team of experts in manufacturing, quality control, legal regulations, patents, business strategy. The list goes on and on. Most research teams are small startups. They just don't have all those people under one roof. And this, right here, is why having a strategic partner isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential. So let's talk about the company at the center of our explainer today, Point Path.Biz. PPBIZ basically positions itself as the expert guide for that journey. Their whole mission is to take that raw research seed and stage it up, get it primed and ready for the big leagues of pharmaceutical development, and they do it all through a single point of contact, which is a game changer. So why them? Well, they bring some serious firepower to the table. We're talking deep experience, both at home and internationally. They've got a massive network connecting industry, government, and universities. And maybe most importantly, they're flexible. They can help with one specific problem, or they can step in and manage the whole shebang.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does PPBIZ actually build that solid foundation for success? This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of what they do.
Their staging up process really stands on three core pillars. First, you've got to validate the seed itself. Is it the real deal? Then, you move to non-clinical research support. And finally, you have to tackle the incredibly complex world of CMC. That's chemistry, manufacturing, and controls.
It all starts with validation. You've got to ask, is this seed really as good as we think it is? This whole step is about kicking the tires, digging deep into the science, and refining the compound to make sure it truly has potential before anyone spends a fortune on it.
Next up is the non-clinical support. This is where their role as a strategic guide really shines. They help pinpoint the final compound to move forward with, and they handle the critical task of choosing and managing outside labs, or CROs, to make sure all the work is top-notch and the regulatory paperwork is absolutely perfect.
And of course, you can't have a drug if you can't actually make it, right? And make it safely and consistently. That's what CMC is all about. PPBIZ manages everything from tweaking the manufacturing process to setting quality standards and even picking the right manufacturing partners, or CDMOs. This is crucial for being able to produce the drug at scale later on.
So once that scientific foundation is rock solid, the focus pivots. How do you take this validated manufacturable compound and turn it into something investors and partners get excited about? A real business opportunity.
PPBIZ attacks this with a three-part business playbook. It involves aggressive business development, smart alliance support, and of course, a rock-solid patent strategy to protect the crown jewels.
When they talk about business development, they're not just talking about a document that sits on a shelf. No, they help with the real-world stuff, like actually creating a new company and providing that critical advice you need to go out and raise the money to fuel the next stage of growth.
You can really see here how they build and protect value at the same time. On one hand, they're building bridges, creating partnerships and licensing key technologies. And on the other hand, they're building a fortress around the asset with a powerful patent strategy, protecting it for the long haul.
So now, let's tie all of these pieces together to see their ultimate promise, acting as a complete end-to-end development engine.
This quote really says it all. The key word here is produces. They aren't just consultants who pop in, give some advice, and then leave. They're built to produce the entire journey, from the earliest scientific steps all the way through to building a functioning business. And like we touched on earlier, this whole powerful engine is totally flexible. A client might just need some help with one specific task, like checking on a manufacturer. Or they might be ready to hand over the keys and have PPBIZ run the entire show. It's all about what the project needs.
So after seeing this whole process, it really leads to a huge question for any researcher, university, or startup out there with a promising idea. Is your research seed really ready for what's coming next? Do you have the right guide to get you through that valley? And that, in a nutshell, is the mission of PPBIZ, to be that guide, providing all the expertise you need in one place to turn a raw discovery into a valuable asset that's ready for development.